What's up guys, welcome to Madrid 360, and in this video we are going to do detailed analysis of Carlo Ancelotti, our new manager. This review contains both analysis of his previous season and assumptions of how could he line this particular Madrid squad into one single unit. So going back in time, in 2013 when he was appointed as the new Madrid manager replacing Jose Mourinho, he had really few things to correct, and the Madrid was really good to go and to compete at the highest level. And the main thing was that combining the squad, which was really broken at that time, into one single unit. I mean, by the time Ancelotti had left, the squad really had issues inside the dressing room. They were divided in parts. Few supported Mourinho's tactics, a few didn't, and there was a sort of revolt going on in the Real Madrid side. So that is one thing that Ancelotti had to correct, and one thing is the defense of Real Madrid. I mean, if you see in the Jose Mourinho's era, the goals were like, most easy thing for our side. The goals came in like huge numbers every single time, but the only problem that hampered us every single time was our defense. So Ancelotti had to solve that sort of issues, and for that he used a sort of hybrid formation of a 4-3-3 and 4-4-2. So while attacking, Real Madrid will be much similar to that of Barcelona or the previous Real Madrid, who used to score a lot of goals, but the thing that will be changed will be in the defense. While defending, Real Madrid would be in a 4-4-2 formation with a winger over there, particularly Di Maria at the time, supporting as a right or left midfielder. So that was the thing, and it paid off really beautifully. We got a really good number of goals, 9-1 or 7-3 or 7-2 if I remember, and we are also solid in defense. And while attacking, the 4-3-3 formation was much similar to Barcelona, as I have already said. The same tiki-taka football you will watch here also, but Ancelotti did some tweaks to that particular formation and tactics, which also allowed Real Madrid to counter really fast, which wasn't the case with Barcelona. And while defending, it was a rigid 4-4-2 formation. Real just didn't allow spaces for the opponents to go forward and do lethal counter-attacks. One player that was really key in the defensive side was Xabi Alonso, who not only held that particular midfield, but also covered the defense section really well. The two defenders he covered up really well, and this was one of the most highlighting features of that particular squad. While attacking, the most key player will be Di Maria, of course the best player in the Madrid squad, even though he didn't score as many goals as Cristiano or Benzema or some other strikers scored, but what made him a key player was his versatility in playing. He had the best possible pace you could imagine in a particular player. He had the best possible technicality. I'm sure you remember this picture. It's good enough to show how technical of a player Di Maria was while on the ball. And he had the best possible crosses in a particular player. So that made him a really lethal weapon in the success of Real Madrid, if you see in the Champions League or the Copa del Rey. So that is basically it for the 13-14 season, which went really well. But what was our strong point in that particular season became our weakness in the other season, because with the players like Di Maria and Xabi Alonso leaving, the two main players, if I would say, the two main players in their particular positions, Real just didn't have the replacements to replace that sort of players. While if you see in the midfield section, they used Toni Kroos, which was really horrible because Toni Kroos always liked to go in front, pinging passes and scoring a lot of goals, while that wasn't the case for a CDM to play. A CDM has to cover defense while also maintaining the control of the midfield line, and Toni Kroos wasn't that sort of player. So that made Real making a lot of mistakes and leaving a lot of spaces for the opponents to counter attack, and that is the reason we conceded in large numbers. And for the replacement of Di Maria, yes, we did have Gareth Bale, which was much similar of a player as of Di Maria. He had the pace, he had the technicality, he had good crossing, but the problem was his injuries. His injuries were a biggest concern in that particular season. And not only Gareth Bale, it was the case with our basically whole squad. Every player had been injured for some or the other reasons in that particular season. There were matches in which we didn't have our first choice defenders, both of our defenders out for injuries, that is Pepe and Ramos. And these just add up as to how we conceded lot goals. And this was one of the reasons that Ancelotti had to be sacked. Also, there were a few off the field issues that need to be corrected, which Ancelotti didn't address properly. First was that UEFA had accused Real Madrid of not having that many hours of training session as other European teams, to which Ancelotti had this to counter. Yes, the players have to work hard, but I think the opposite. We have to give players enough rest. We had a month full of injuries and fatigue that was crucial to losing the league. The statistics were the sign that Real Madrid was more focused on the numbers than in my work. So this was really a dark statement from Ancelotti. Also, one from Gareth Bale's agent, who criticized him publicly of the Welshman not getting proper minutes inside Ancelotti. See, in this match, Bales gets substituted before 20 minutes to go. This was against Valencia at Mestalla, which ended in a 2-1 loss. So these are a few off the field factors that contributed to the sacking of Ancelotti, and it was a bit harsh, as it wasn't Ancelotti who made the players injured. Yes, there could have been better rotations in the squad to avoid any major injuries that weren't made possible during his reign, but he didn't have to be insulted for that. And I really thank Ancelotti for coming back. Not even Ancelotti, it's Raul for the same, it's Casillas for the same, the legends who have come back to Real Madrid after getting publicly criticized by Perez. So this was particularly his 2 seasons at Real Madrid. The start was really beautiful to see, but the end wasn't satisfying. So what could he do now so special that make this Real Madrid squad a proper compatible team for European competitions? See, if you look on paper, if you look individually at every player, yes, we do have enough talent, but they can't do it when in a single unit. That is the main problem. That was the main problem of our 2021 season. We had a potential, but due to some injuries or uncertainties, the players weren't there, or they were just not informed to contribute the team when playing in highest competition. So I think that Ancelotti will still go with a 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2 sort of a hybrid formation. I mean, it's an interesting thing to note, as he hasn't been able to perform at that sort of level after leaving Real Madrid, whether it's Bayern Munich, whether it's Napoli or Everton. So it will be really interesting to see how Ancelotti could sort the issues forward. But I am going for a 4-3-3 formation with Courtois starting, Nacho and Alaba on the centre back, with Mendy on the left. I'm still going for Mendy. Marcelo is just not suited at left back position for now. It's really harsh for him, I know, but he just isn't able to perform at that sort of level that he used to. So I'm going for Mendy on the left, Carvajal on the right, of course if injuries do not bless him another season. Midfield, of course, the iconic trio of Toni Kroos, Luka Modric and Carlos Casemiro. And in the attack we'll have Eden Hazard, Benzema and Gareth Bale. Of course, rotations have to be made in these seasons to avoid any major injuries or uncertainties, especially with Eden Hazard and Luka Modric, because one is very injury prone and one is getting older day by day. So it's not that we do not have replacements, but they just have to be utilized in such a manner that we are able to get the best from them. So guys, that will be the end of the video. I hope you got worth for your time, and stay tuned for the next videos, and I'll see you later. Thank you.